motor, J motor, J motor, J motor, recognize Heckler house, Heckler house. Oh, 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 oh.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now this week, all I seen was the whole thing with Trump getting peace negotiations going over there in the Middle East, and of course, you know, the media doesn't want to acknowledge it. They're reluctantly having to, you know, tell everyone that Trump did a good job, blah, 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 blah. And especially these leftist politicians, they are not happy about this shit at all. They are mad over that shit. But them having to acknowledge he went over there and is getting peace going, it really burns him. I'm just giddy over it because it's just fucking funny. So naturally, you know, the left is going to throw a fit about him doing that. There's some that just flat out refuse to accept the fact that he's getting it done. The other thing that I seen that just, it's so fucking annoying. It's irritating. I did not know who, I mean, I'd heard of him. I knew he was a left-wing commentator. But other than that, you know, I could give a fuck less about this dude. Seriously, nobody cares about this motherfucker. But YouTubers have been blowing up over the fact that Hassan Piker fucking has abused his doggy. Ooh. Who gives a flying fuck? This guy celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk. Then he goes on to trash him. Then he calls for the unaliving of other people, literally on his live stream, and they have done nothing, jack zilch, to this motherfucker. This motherfucker should be in jail, but yet nothing is done to this dumbass. He's still streaming and getting away with it. That motherfucker needs to be in jail. I don't give a flying fuck chink or whatever the fuck his name is. I don't give a fuck about that stupid motherfucker. He's already flipped back to going far left. You dumbass motherfuckers think he was going right. You were fucking full of shit. Jink is a dumbass motherfucker too. But anyways, yeah, that Hassan Piker, his nephew, that motherfucker should be in jail for all the shit he's been, you know, he's been calling for violence on people. But anyways, I couldn't believe that more people were worried about this fucking dog than him calling violence on people and celebrating Charlie Kirk. More people are rallying against him fucking abusing that fucking dog. It's fucking pathetic. It really is. And I'm tired of seeing him all over the place by these YouTubers talking about his dumb ass. Stop talking about that stupid fucker. Just arrest him and put him in jail. For fuck's sake. Anyways. So as I've said before, even if you don't watch the channel regularly, and you've only seen a couple of videos, or you don't watch it at all, it only takes 2 seconds to hit that subscribe button. It doesn't affect you or your channel whatsoever. It just helps this channel grow. So please subscribe. Also, I have another channel. It's called Easy Does It. The link is in the About section. Check it out if you like gaming vlogs and reviews and reactions to other YouTube channels. Okay. Again, subscribe. What I really wanted to talk to you about this week is I watched almost a week ago. I watched that fucking Tron Ares, which is just fucking, oh, dude, seriously. I agree with all the other YouTubers. This is a Tron without Tron, okay? It's the Jared Leto show. He just inserted himself into his little fantasy world of Tron and made himself like Tron. It's literally what it is. Now the first movie, despite what fucking like people like Clownfish is saying, Tron has always had a huge following. Huge amount of fans. It was big. It's always been big. Anyway, the first movie. The second movie, they really didn't have Tron in it. I know there's people that like Legacy, and I thought it was an okay movie. You know, visually it's cool looking and blah blah blah. The story was okay. It wasn't super lame, but it wasn't that great either. There's several flaws in Legacy, but you know, overall it was an okay movie, even though it really didn't have Tron in it. You had Tron. It wasn't really Tron. It was like a clone of Tron turned bad for like a few minutes. That's it. It was dumb because they didn't have Tron. But they pretty much wiped all that out and created a whole different story for this fucking Ares. You got the Sam Flynn from the original, his son, from Legacy. They totally obliterated that story. And now you got these two woke feminist chicks, girl boss chicks, who come in and take over the fucking company. They don't explain why Sam resigned at the very end. He just said, fuck it, I'm done, I'm resigning, you two chicks take it over. Well, it wasn't, he didn't give it to him, the board of Incom gave it to him. Nobody knows who these girls are, these Chinese girls. But, you know, we gotta have diversity. Blah, 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 blah. You know, DEI. You know, fuck that shit. And then, instead of Gillian Anderson, who supposedly plays the wife of Dillinger, her son takes over the company because she lets him. Basically, she's a girl boss too, and she should have just ran the company, whatever. I like Gillian Anderson. I mean, even though she's aging, you can tell she's still a good looking woman. She's still hot as fuck. Anyways, I've always liked Gillian Anderson from the X-Files. She's a great actress. So anyway, she's playing a girl boss role. She's letting her son run her company when she should be running it. Whatever. Anyways, somehow they're magically able to 3D print shit from the computer world with lasers. They never explain how this is done. Even full-fledged programs, humans, they're able to do this, and they never explain how this is done. Only that you have these magical lasers that can 3D print shit. Or even a tree, with oranges that you could eat. Shit like that. It's ridiculous. It's redonkulous. And then, for whatever reason, they have this fucking Flynn, I guess, supposedly had this like Arctic fucking lab in Arctic or Alaska or some shit. And she's at the very beginning, this woman named Kim or whatever, she's got to fucking get something that her sister that died was looking for on Flynn's floppy disk shit. And she's got to go through like 500 of these things. So she finds this so-called, what they're calling the permanent code, which allows shit from the computer world to enter into the real world and become permanent. In other words, they don't die or whatever. The program doesn't cease to exist, because the laser shit that Dillinger has, they're only able to stay in the real world for like 30 minutes or some shit like that, and then they disintegrate. Anyways, she supposedly finds this code and then destroys it before Dillinger gets it, and then they zap her into the computer world where Jared Leto is like master control for grand kid Dillinger, and he turns on him and helps her for whatever reason. He's not supposed to have any emotions or feelings, but he turns on her and decides to help her. He eventually becomes the blue-white colored guy like Tron and fucking helps her out. And then at the end of the movie, he's just riding off, enjoying life. He's no longer a program. He's been able to become permanent now because of the code, which she has in her head. And they could have gotten it in the back store of Flynn's old place, because apparently he has his old setup in the garage there, and they could have gone there and gotten it, but no, they had to go to Alaska. It makes no fucking sense. Anyways, of course the antagonist is this black hair, or this black chick with blonde hair. You know, she's girl boss too, and she's got to kill them all, you know, blah blah blah, because she was told to. It's the bikes, man. Like, what the fuck? The bike is like super heavy. You know, it's not like the bar. They have a scene where they show Jared Leto towards the end, where, spoiler alert, where, you know, fucking, he grabs one of them 80s bars. You know, he's like in an 80s world from the old original Tron. And it, you know, when he grabs the bar, it turns into a cycle. They don't do that in this. In this, it's like a real cycle. It's fucked up. That's not a Tron bike, but whatever. And then Jeff Bridges, you know, he's in it for like 2 minutes, and he hands over the permacode to Jared Leto, which makes no sense, but whatever. This movie it's like a fan fiction movie. It's terrible. It's not really good. Anyways, that's what I got for you on that front. Let's get on to your B movie reviews. Tron Ares. That's how I felt about it. It just, a movie without Tron. Makes no sense. Alright, let's get on to your B movie reviews. Movieholics, this week, or this month actually, is Horror Month. Told you I was going to finish up some fish movies. I figure I'd go ahead and do the Jaws series. There's 4 of these. The first one, of course, is the big one everybody knows. It was done in 1975 and it made about $490 million worldwide. You know, it was directed by Steven Spielberg. It was one of his very first films and it blew up. Which I really don't understand, because it's literally just a shark movie. But for whatever reason, people ate it up back then. Of course, it stars Roy Schneider and Lorraine Gary, who plays his wife in the movie. You had a couple other actors, Richard Dreyfuss and a couple others in there. Richard Dreyfuss was pretty young in this movie. They kept calling him, they keep calling him? Young man. They kept calling him young man in this movie. They all did it. Anyways, of course, most of you know the story. They live in this town, I don't know, it's like a on the sea town. What did they call it? They called it something. I can't remember the name of the town, but Amity or some shit like that. Anyways, it's like a little lighthouse, Massachusetts town up north of the United States or whatever. I can't even remember what state they were in, Virginia or some shit like that. Maine, I don't know. Anyways, it's a port town. And they have this summer event where it brings in a lot of tourists, and you know, that's how they get their revenue. Their money is from the tourism during the summer. Now, you know it's close to New York because that's where the main character is from. I think he said he's from New York. I don't remember, Rhode Island or some shit like that. It's somewhere in New York. The Bronx. I don't know. Anyways, the story is, he finds a dead body on the beach. And it's a woman, or a girl, young, I don't know if she's high school or early college. Anyways, he finds out it's a shark attack, but the mayor wants to flip it around to where it's just a boating accident because he wants the tourism to come through. But he's pretty sure it's a shark attack. So Sheriff Brody, which is Roy's character, he calls an institute that deals with sharks to send, a shark expert, which is Richard Dreyfuss. Now, Richard Dreyfuss does show up eventually. However, when he shows up, They think they've caught the shark, but it's too small. It's not the shark. Uh, there is a fisherman, I guess you would call him. He likes to hunt shark and killer whale and all them kind, uh, harmful fish, whatever. But anyways, he likes to hunt them. He offers to help them for a good chunk of money. So those three eventually go out on the ocean to hunt the shark. They find out that the shark is way bigger than they thought it would be, and it's a great white. Uh, and it takes forever for them to get even close to the thing because it's knocking them left and right in this boat. The boat's about ready to go kaput. Eventually, the fisherman, he gets killed, and then Brody and Richard Dreyfuss's character, they survive barely. They tried to do the whole, we're going to jab them with a needle and kill them through poisoning them through some type of crap that Richard Dreyfuss had, but that didn't work. That shark tore up the fucking cage that he was in to try to stab him with. Luckily, there was an extra air tank for diving, and Brody got it caught in the shark's mouth and then shot it and blew it up. That was the end of the shark. It's a good movie. It's a decent watch. I liked it. I seen it when I was like, when I was itty bitty. I was a little kid when, 1975. It came out when I was born. But anyways, I saw it when I was a little kid, and it's been forever since I've seen this movie. But I watched it. I didn't even know there was a fourth one, to be honest. I thought there was just 3. But apparently there's 4 Jaws movies. Anyways, definitely 2 thumbs up. Great movie for at least a one-time watch. Even though I'm not a big fan of water type movies. I'm just not. I don't like the water crap. Just not my thing. The next one is, of course, Jaws 2. It was done in 1978, and it made only 187 mil. So only made about half of what the other one did. It dropped. Now, some of these characters from the first movie returned for the sequel. Brody, or Roy Schneider, and Lorraine Gary. They came back to do the sequel, and a couple others, like his deputy and shit. In this one, another string of murders from the water. One of them causes a boat to blow up, and they think it's just a boating accident, when it was actually a shark. They don't explain how big the shark is in this one, but it's another great white. He's pretty big. There's a scene where he's so shark paranoid, Sheriff Brody, that he goes and fires a bunch of bullets in front of a crowd. Now, he wasn't shooting at the crowd, he was shooting at some fish. And he thought he thought it was another shark, and it wasn't. The board or council or whatever, city council, especially one particular guy, they wanted him off the count or fire him. They wanted to fire him, which they did. Now, eventually it is found out that there is a great white in the waters. His son ignores him. He's grown up in this one. He's like 16, 17, something like that. Anyways, he likes to sail. And apparently they had another kid, a little boy. He's much younger. He's like 7 or 8. He wants to go with Big Bro sailing when they're not supposed to. They're supposed to stay out of the water, but they go anyway. And they go with a group of friends, a bunch of friends. They all go sailing. Teenage kids or young college kids. I'm not sure which one, but the shark attacks them and leaves them adrift. They tie up a bunch of their sailboats or whatever, and it leaves them adrift. They can't. The sailboats are too screwed up to be able to use them. They're able to use one, and they're able to get Brody's oldest son in the boat and take off. The rest of them are all adrift, and they're drifting towards this power station out in the middle of the ocean. Sheriff Brody goes after him. Eventually catches up to him, and then he gets the shark to chomp down on a power line that's under the water. He brings it up, and the shark bites it and fries the shark, and that's pretty much the end. Everybody pretty much gets through it. There's a few death scenes, but for the most part, most of them survive. And that's the end of the movie. It was okay. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't as compelling as the first one. Even though the first one, half the movie you're in the town, and the second half you're out on the ocean with those three hunting the shark. And this one, it's just a bunch of kids getting in trouble, and he's got to go out there and save their ass. It was okay. I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. It's worth a one-time watch, probably. Anyways, that's all I have for you this week. If you could think of any underrated movies or something you think I've never even heard of or seen before, please leave your suggestions down in the comment section down below, and I'll get to reviewing it as soon as I can. If you have any thoughts about what I talked about earlier in the video, leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. I don't hear from any of you very often, but anyways, again, that's all I have for you this week. I hope you all have a good one, and we'll see you on the next one. I told you to be told the truth, and you just been told.